Hey everybody, you know who this is. It's Jay's PH journey. What a rough weekend. And when I say rough, very rough. The only thing I could really say is, and if you kind of understand how it is to lose somebody that you're close to, and you bond with that person so much, and that person can make you your favorite person, or you know I don't even know how to explain it. It's really it's rough. Um, I can't even believe that this person has passed. I mean, it's really I seen this person have a smile on her face every single time I see her, without her even having money, worry about if I ate or drank water or drank anything when I was in the Philippines. And I bonded with this person so much that anytime there was a gathering or there was food, a dinner or anything, she had to be she had to be there, or else I was going to be upset because I bonded with this person. And I've seen, honestly, my first trip to the Philippines, I was around her. Oh my God. I was in my girlfriend's town, the area, and I was around that lady for almost the whole time I was there. She would come over to the house, walk across the street, made something for me, always wanted me to go over there and for her to cook me something to eat. And just April 2024, we went there and I seen her, and so happy because that was the person I wanted to see, especially the family and so on and so forth. But after we left the Philippines, she went from being happy go lucky, she was the rock. She was, that I could say she was my ate, and she'll be greatly missed. You know, my girlfriend, is taking it really hard, but she's not suffering no more. That's the best thing about it, is that we've seen her with tubes on her neck, but she always had a smile on her face, and she always tried to, you know, not tell anybody about her pain. And it's unbelievable that we've seen her, well, we've seen her Friday, so it'd be Saturday on video chat, and she didn't even look. She probably weighed maybe like not even 100 pounds. She couldn't open her eyes, and the mask was as big as her face, and it didn't even look like her. Cancer is a terrible, terrible disease, and I wish but nothing for these people to find a cure for cancer. And another thing too is I just lost one of my classmates, 49 years old. 49 years old, and he committed suicide because I don't even know why. He had friends and family that was there for him to, talk with him, and he didn't even reach out to none of us, and he committed suicide. And his father found him deceased Monday morning. And that was just not even 3 weeks ago. But unfortunately, with this video was really about my girlfriend's, aunt that just passed away this weekend, Sunday Philippine time. But it was Saturday here in the United States. Me and, myself and Luan wished we were able to go to the Philippines and spend time with her before, anything did occur, but we just couldn't. But we always, literally always called, and we've been calling her faithfully. Thanks, Brett. We've been faithfully calling over there and checking on her and seeing what her symptoms were. And we knew, what she had and how bad it was, but we couldn't let her know because then she would have been stressed and pain even more than what she is and be worried, and then she probably would have not wanted to do the treatments like she didn't want to do. And the person she listened to about doing the treatments, the dialysis, because in my heart I knew I thought she would beat it and it wasn't that bad, but unfortunately the cancer was really bad. It spreaded, and just the dialysis was pretty much just eating her up alive and just killing her blood cells and Just whatever it was doing it. And but she fought really hard because that's who she was. She was a strong person, caring, loving, and I was her favorite. Man, like I said, I seen her, with the air on, her oxygen on, and man, and her gasping for air a little bit already kind of told me that she was tired. But, Friday when I talked with her, told her I loved her and I missed her and I will miss her. And me and my girlfriend were in tears because that's who, did a real big impact on myself and Luan. And Luan's been, that was her favorite aunt, pretty much. And then when I met her, I just fell in love with her, and that was my favorite aunt. It's just crazy. This weekend that I have spent with Luan was so different because we actually, we went to dinner, we sat there and we talked, and to bring memories to, about her aunt and what she did so much for us mentally and physically and emotionally, what she brought to our lives. And it's just, it's been, like I said, this weekend has been very, very, very rough. She was the rock of the family, but she was the heart of gold for me. And I loved every moment that I've spent with her and interacted with her, or just she was even there for my birthday of last year when I celebrated my birthday in the Philippines. I didn't even have to ask her to come. She was already there. And now it's like I had to actually, for the past like week, I sat here at the computer creating a video just for her. And There was a lot of things that I had to, that I couldn't do to that video because of my mind couldn't wrap around the whole thing of her passing away. There was like I was like, no, I'll start making a video and I'll create it a little bit, but I won't put God received the angel. I couldn't put that up. I couldn't put the rest in peace, the date, because I didn't know the date that I didn't think she was gonna, pass away. And I prayed, so much. And when I say I prayed so much, I prayed so much. And I don't even pray like that. But for that woman, I prayed a lot, wishing that God could actually help her recover and beat this cancer. But every single time that I've seen her, she was losing weight, losing her hair. And actually, Friday, Eastern time, Friday, I prayed to God and said, I won't want her to struggle or suffer anymore because of this cancer. And that was even the hardest thing for me to ever say or pray to a God and tell them, to tell him to pretty much take that angel home and for her not to suffer no more. And then all of a sudden, Luan, my girlfriend Luan, was like, "Oh, we're gonna, call, Ate and see how she's doing." And I was all happy, but at that moment of seeing her in the hospital, in the bed, and the mask is covering almost her whole face, and her gasping for air, I knew she had to go to be with God and be with all the other angels that really deserve to be an angel. So all of a sudden I did that. We were on the phone talking to her, having the daughter put the phone up to her ear and me telling her I love her. Was the hardest thing of me to have to do to a woman that I knew was strong and a heart of gold. And she was my favorite. I told her I loved her, told her I miss her. I told her I wished I was able to, speak Tagalog with her because she only knew how to say my name in English, and wishing that I spoke Tagalog to her for us to have a conversation. And all these little things are killing me, really killing me. And hearing my girlfriend, cry and telling her own aunt, it's all right, you could go to sleep, no more suffering, no more pain. And that was the hardest thing. Hey, Brett, man, it's crazy. I try to, be strong, and I try to, give my girl that positive, the positive vibes, and, saying that she's going to pull through, and so she wouldn't be so stressed out. But knowing after, jeez, I don't even think it lasted. I don't even think it lasted even 6 months. I think probably even 4 months, if that. It's crazy. It's really crazy with this cancer. But then, cancer is a disease, and it's a cancer. It just kills people. You know, so Saturday Eastern time, we get the call early in the morning. Early in the morning. I'll say like I think it was probably like 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe even a little bit later than that. And we get that call, and I already knew. And hearing Luan, call, and hearing Luan cry, I already I already knew. I seen them wrap her up in the sheet. I seen some of the family members be there. Me and Luan on the phone, crying. Seeing Luan's cousin, there crying. Thanks. And then Saturday morning, after, seeing them put the sheet over her and they dragged her, they put her on the stretcher and dragged her outside and into like a little area where they keep the dead bodies and where the family went to go see her. That was a hard thing to swallow right there, because then they uncovered her face, and to see her for the last time like that was the hardest thing. Man. So I had to told my girl, "Oh, let's go for a ride." After early afternoon, I said, "Oh, let's go for a ride." We actually went to my grandmother's, and my grandmother, my grandfather, and even my uncle's grave site. They're all in just one, grave site. And I actually told my grandmother to go look for for Luan's aunt up in heaven, so they can have tea and get to know each other, so her aunt wouldn't be left alone. It's crazy. But then me and myself and Luan went to, drive around a little bit, and it rained, and we went to have dinner at a place, and we didn't even eat nothing from early morning until dinner time. That's how stressed we've been with this whole thing. Man. And actually, in another 3 more days, it will be Luan's birthday. But now Luan really kind of doesn't want to celebrate her birthday. It's understandable. But we went to the mall yesterday, and I bought her a little something, nothing too crazy, but I told her when everything gets better, me and her are gonna get some watches, and that's gonna be for symbolizing a lot. Hey, the reason why I'm sad is because um, my girl lost her aunt, so and we couldn't be there for her. I didn't want to be on here much longer. Yeah, she passed away this weekend. It was my girlfriend's aunt, a person that I've been around a lot, around every single time I've been to the Philippines, and me and her bonded really well. So, you know, yeah, she had, cancer. We just found out she had cancer. Like literally, we literally just found out. Um, Not even 6 months, and we couldn't even tell her because if we would have told her that she had cancer, she was not going to do, the radiation or the chemo or, anything. Unfortunately, no, we can't get to the Philippines because the money is very tight. And my girl, is working. And like I said, the money is very tight right about now. But me and my girl already said that hopefully next year we will be going to the Philippines, and we're going to do some major, gatherings with the family. Yeah, that was my favorite ate. She was my favorite. No lie. On my girl side, she was my favorite ate. And I even told my girl that I'm gonna be getting a tattoo of her name and her birthday and her two birth dates, and she will always be with me forever. And my girl said, "Yeah, go ahead. You were her favorite, so go ahead." Another thing we're going to be doing is when we get there, we're going to have a big gathering. We're going to have a big gathering with the family, and we're going to have a chair and a dish next to, between me and Luan, my girlfriend. And that's going to symbolize for, Luan's aunt that just passed away, and to let her know that we still, are thinking about her and we're celebrating all the memories that we've had with her, you know. My girlfriend's aunt passed away, Bruce, this weekend, so this weekend was a very rough weekend for us. But the only good thing about it is that we were able to tell her that we love her and she will be missed, and we will never forget about her. And we were able to see her before she did pass, before, you know, me not able to, tell her that I loved her and um, that I'll miss her deeply. So at least myself and my girlfriend were able to tell, her aunt pretty much our last goodbyes and our last I love yous and stuff like that. Thanks, Bruce. Just seeing that right now, it's like it's hard. I didn't even cry really like this, you know, for my own father. But like every single time, seeing my girl's aunt every single day on the phone almost, it seemed like it was just nothing but tears. Nothing but tears. Man, it's crazy. Thanks. You know, I was gonna, let y'all, play the video that I kind of created for her, but I gotta first I got to, send it to the family first, and then I'm gonna post it. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, that's pretty much, what myself and, my girlfriend Luan said to her on Friday, so it would be Saturday over there. Um, and we told her, she could go to sleep. There's no more suffering, there's no more pain. We'll take care of everything as much as we could, take care of. We pretty much, we told her, it's all right to be, to go to sleep because we didn't want her to suffer no more. Hold on, everybody. Okay, everybody. That's Luan on the phone over there right now. Yeah, we pretty much told her, we told her to, go to sleep, and no more pain, no more suffering, and that myself and Luan will, take care of everything, and there will be no worries about, her daughter, you know. And I told, her aunt that everything will be all right. But the main thing was that we told her that we loved her and we will greatly miss her. and it will never be the same with, her not being there. Yeah. Well, that's what, you know, Bruce, the crazy thing was that, even my girl's uncle is really sick, and the only thing that's keeping him alive is, medications. If he don't take those medications, he's pretty much, he's not doing good as well, you know? And we would have never imagined her aunt being this sick and pass away at all. You know what I mean? We didn't even think she even had cancer. We didn't even think she was sick, but she started losing weight, and it was like out of nowhere, you know, like like why is she losing so much weight? Like what's going on? And we found out a few months ago that she had cancer. And you know everybody was like, oh, you need to tell her, that she got cancer, this. And I said, don't tell her nothing. Don't tell her, because if you tell her, she's going to be stressed. She's not going to want to do this, the chemo or the radiation. She's not going to want to do none of it, and she's just going to, give up, and she's going to be stressed and die being stressed. And I told my girl to be like, don't tell her, to don't tell her. She'll give up. And the person that convinced her to, do the radiation was me. I was like, whatever you have, do the radiation or whatever you have to do it. And my girlfriend would translate it, and all of a sudden she started doing it. She was going to her appointments every single day and doing what she needed to do. But man, sometimes I just wish God could find a cure for this cancer, so the great people that are real angels could still be alive. Yeah, I hope you know I hope I feel like that, Bruce, honestly. But it's kind of hard. Kind of wish I didn't tell her to do it. Yeah, I'm trying to believe that, Bruce. I am so trying to believe that. It's hard to believe it, you know, but it's hard. Very hard, you know. But like I said, at least, I told even my girl when we were seeing her, kind of gasping for air. And I told my girl to, to let her know that it's all right for her to go to sleep, and that she don't have to have no more pain or suffering, and there's no more worries. Everything is okay. So, and when we got off the phone, me and my girl were in tears. And then all of a sudden, the next morning, Saturday morning, we get the call, and we already knew. By Luan's sister-in-law, hurried up and called us, and she's crying. And all of a sudden, my girl, she wakes up, and she's crying, and all of a sudden now she's waking me up, hitting me in the bed like, "Babe, wake up, babe, you know, Ate's passed away," and I'm like, just you know, yeah, I we so me and myself and Luan are going to be doing, a lot. We're going to be doing a few things, and um, being in the Philippines, you got to have, uh, the casket be at the house for so many days, and um, like everything is happening, like real fast. And actually, tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, I think Monday or Tuesday or something like that, the body will be at where Ate lived. That's right across the street from where um, my girl's mother lives, and the family, and where me and Luan have our own little bedroom over there. And no, I'm in Connecticut. All the videos you see, recently of like um, us going to the Philippines, that's all my content that I had from last year that I just never posted. Um, and I finally started posting and doing, pushing the content out because I really want to get monetized again, and be able to do things that we need to do. You know, yeah, we were visiting. We were there for 30 days. That's my second time being in the Philippines. April of 2024, we were in the Philippines. And December of 2018, we were in the Philippines. So for 30 days on each trip, we were in the Philippines. Now, we're supposed to go December of 2026, possibly. We're going to try to go for 2 months. But with this trip that we're going to be going to, in 2026, is going to be so much different. It's going to be a lot harder for me and Luan because everybody was able to see her aunt's, casket and grieve and um, say their last goodbyes. Um, our last goodbyes were pretty much where um, she was still breathing, telling her that we love her. So we're not able to be in the Philippines because it's expensive right now, and it would cost a lot, you know, and money is tight. Money is tight. Ain't gonna lie. Um, so we've decided that 2026, hopefully 2026 or 2027, we'll be going to the Philippines, and we're going to try to go for 2 months. And that's when we're going to do a lot, a lot of um, family. We're going to do, we're going to do like one or two, like a 2 day party that I'm going to plan for all the family. We're going to get a pig. We're going to, yeah, like a reunion. And we're gonna have a few pictures of Luan's aunt up on the on the table or something, and it's just gonna be a lot of memories and a lot of love. We're gonna do that, and then celebrate her passing. We're gonna do that. Um, but if we go for before Christmas or around Christmas, most likely we'll be there around Christmas. And what we're gonna do is celebrate Christmas Eve for her as well. So she'll have like two special days, actually probably three special days just for her. Um, and just, yeah. She was 70. Yeah, 70. Like 70, like early 70s. Like 69, 72-ish, I think. Yeah. So we're planning, we're gonna plan that. That's gonna be, my expense. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, there's gonna be beer and Tanduay, there's gonna be Red Horse, there's gonna be San Miguel Lights, and we're just gonna just yeah, we're just gonna celebrate. Really, we're gonna do um videoke, karaoke, and let her hear everybody sing, and like you said, to rejoice. Um, we're gonna go to her, grave site, and that's gonna be very hard for me and Luan because, you know, we're gonna yeah we're gonna just we're just gonna have a real celebration for her. Yeah, we're gonna have some beer, some liquor, and some wine. You know, we're gonna have a pig. Yeah. Yep. So we're gonna do a lot. We're gonna celebrate her life, and then you know, unfortunately, on Christmas Day, it's gonna be hard. But what we'll do is most likely go to her gravesite and put more flowers and some candles around her. Things like that. We'll do that. And then before we leave, to come back home, we'll do more flowers and light the candles for one more time. And then every single time, her birthday occurs, we'll have the family go to her gravesite and have the candles and light them just for that. Um, and I even mentioned to Luan, my girlfriend, I had told her, if we get a vehicle, we're going to put her name on the vehicle. um, and what we're going to do also, yeah, Bruce, I met you at Fishy's. And even though and when it's time to build the house, we're going to do something really nice for her at the house, for the house build. So There's a lot of things going to be happening, and it's just it's crazy. But yeah, I didn't even want to really do any lives anytime soon. I didn't even want to do nothing. Like really, I didn't even want to do nothing. But I pushed myself and I said, I know, you know, I'd rather talk about it a little bit and let everybody, show their love to, Luan, my girlfriend Luan, and then she could read the comments and stuff like that. True, Bruce. Very true, you know. So, but oh, what a day. Actually, what a weekend. Bruce, it's all right. Yeah, trust me. I understand totally. Typos are easy for me. Even with my tablet or even with my phone, I'm just, you know, with the typos, you know. Hold on, guys. Let me go real fast to the facilities. Thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate it. I'm about to get off and talk with my girl a little bit, and finish this video that I created for her, for her aunt. Um, and then render it and everything. She about to. I thought she was about to say something to me, but thank you everybody with your, your love and your prayers, and um, thank you, Bruce. You're my brother too. I appreciate it. You know, I wouldn't have, like I said, I wouldn't have did this live if it wasn't for somebody special that I knew and loved and cared about, you know. So I really appreciate it. You know, right now my girls, like I said, taking it. Luan's taking it really hard. She's trying to be strong, and after this live, if you could just, put a comment for, Luan, I would greatly appreciate it. Um, but everybody, this is, this video was almost called the worst weekend of my life, but, and it really is my worst weekend. Bruce, I lost my father. Jeez, it'll be already almost 13 years. Let's see. I lost my father almost 13 years ago. I can't even delete him off my phone. Still can't even delete that number off of my phone. It's impossible. Yeah, sorry for your loss too, Bruce. I'm telling you, cancer is it's a deadly disease, and I just wish they would find something better and faster instead of putting people through the misery and what I've seen with my girlfriend's aunt. I would never wish that on my worst enemy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I think about my father all the time, and I hear my father telling me, "Oh, just keep on, moving that left leg forward, and never look back." And I do that faithfully almost every single morning. Think about my father, and now I'm thinking about my girl's aunt, a person that I really love and cherish, and pretty soon this October it will be my mother's 70th birthday, and it's scary knowing 70 years old. I'm thinking of like, oh, I'm only going to be, 48, and I'm like, man, I'm getting closer and closer to, going to see God and stuff like that. But it's rough. Oh, man. And that's the only thing I could do, Bruce, is just keep on moving my left leg forward and not giving up on a lot of things, you know. Wow. God bless her. See, I'm 47 and I feel, wow. Yeah, I miss my father deeply still, you know. And then on top of it, I think my uncle and my grandmother, her son, her younger son, um, passed away a few months of each other in 20 just 4 years ago in 2020. We lost first. It was my uncle because of you know with cancer and other things, and then all of a sudden after he passed away a few months later, then it was my grandmother. um let's see, my uncle was like in my uncle was early 50s, like mid 50s. My grandmother was 94. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was always with my grandmother, always. My Me and my grandmother would walk to the stores or go to church with each other, and because my grandmother was a uh, very strong Catholic woman, very religious, didn't swear, didn't drink, didn't smoke cigarettes, didn't do nothing. Like she was a, you know, really strong Catholic woman, very religious, you know. So, I mean, I pretty much grew up with my grandmother, you know, since I was a young age. I was her favorite. She has a lot of grandchildren, so, but I was her favorite, you know. Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had some raising. My mother was very strict with me with my younger age. Couldn't go out really. I couldn't hang out with the guys. I had to go to one house and one house only. And I better be there if the street light wasn't on, if the street light went on, I better be on that porch, or else there was going to be some, problems. I had to earn an hour to stay out later. Every birthday I had, I would get at least an hour. Um, at the age of 16, I pretty much, my latest time I was out was 8:45 at the age of 16. And I had to be in the house by 9 o'clock. So trust me, didn't really have a father figure around. I grew up being the man of the house at the age of like 4. All my birthday money, communion, confirmation would go to my mother so she could have, so we could have cable or food in the house or, electricity. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of times where we didn't have, like, cable, but we had to rent movies, you know? So that's pretty much my life, you know? But let me get going. Yeah, trust. Came around, actually, I'll make it real short. After, I was going through my divorce, my father, came around and finally he admitted um, not being a good father. And then we started repairing, you know, you know, we were repairing a lot, with you know, my mental state at mind because, going through a divorce and hearing things from your ex-wife that you would never imagine hearing, um, things like that. But, my father, uh, yeah, we buried the hatchet and we were starting to fix it. And then all of a sudden, probably not even a year, 6 months to a year after that, then he ended up being in the hospital and finding out he was pretty much brain dead. And that was pretty much, he couldn't breathe on his own. He couldn't even open his eyes. He was just pretty much brain dead. There was no, you know, uh, there was just nothing. Um, yeah, yeah, I got that year. A little less than a year, and I could still kind of hear the horns because he used to be a truck driver, and he would go, on the highway, and he would call me up. He'd be like, "Oh, where you at?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm at home." "Oh, really?" And he would blow the horn of the truck because where I had my apartment was right next to 95 South, and um, he was like, "Oh, you're home?" He was like, "Oh, bro," he blowing the the horn of the truck, and I'd be like, he was like, "Oh, you hear me? You hear me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard you." Even if I was at work, I would, because my job was next to 95 South, and all of a sudden I hear the horn blowing, and he would call me and be like, "Oh, where you at? Are you home?" I'll be like, "No, I'm at work." He goes, "Oh, did you hear the horn blow? Because I forgot to blow it at your house, by your house, so I blew it at your job." I was like, I knew it was you, So yeah, yeah. So that, that stuck with me. That's going to be sticking with me forever, you know, and that's how there's sometimes where me and my girl goes to like Clinton Crossings, um, and it's on 95, and we go by this, the spots where my father used to blow the horn, and I tell my girl, the story, and she laughs and I laugh, and I just look up at the sky, and all of a sudden you see like a little flash sometimes with the sun, and I just I smile, and then we just keep on going. Yeah, yeah, it does. It's crazy, you know. But well, let me get off this computer because I gotta finish that video. It's hard for me to even want to finish that video, but I'm gonna finish that video and uh, let Luan see it, and then send it to the family and stuff like that. But like I said, everybody, thank you for so much love and support. Uh, Words can't explain how I'm feeling for the love and the support give us. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to myself and Luan. Um, I really appreciate it, and I have never had a problem of saying I love y'all and thank you so much. And if you could, um, within probably 2 days, I'm probably gonna post a little video of my girl's aunt, and you could show love to Luan on that video, or you could even show her on this video and tell her sorry for her loss of her aunt. It would mean a lot to me. I love y'all. I got to get off this and start really doing this video for my Ateyami. Um, and I'll probably be doing a live maybe tomorrow or on Tuesday. So everybody, God bless. I love y'all. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.